Good afternoon and happy Saturday. It is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you I feel like I'm waiting for something to happen today. So we're expecting lots of rain, thunderstorms, all that good stuff. Yesterday was a beautiful day. If you caught my video, or a couple of videos I took on my walk, I think it was almost 80 degrees here in the northeast. So I'm here on the east coast of the USA, if this is the first time catching me. I did a very quick 3-minute video along with my cat, who, if you caught that video on abundance, I was out on a walk, and this is what I wanted to talk about. I've already pulled 3 cards for the messages for this week from the Sacred Soul deck, which is a shadow oracle deck. I've used this before, so I've got 3 important messages to give, and then I'll pull some fairy cards and some dragon cards. But what I wanted to talk about today was it's a continuing theme of, for me, and if you followed me for any period of time, parts of, I'm like waking up, right? This is my true, I just turned 72. I only really woke up to my spiritual gifts, probably. I started in sort of the early 2000s, so only last 25 years, and certainly after we moved here to the United States. And a lot of things I blocked, shut down, didn't want to deal with, and now I'm being brought to these things to clear them. And what I'm understanding from the messages I'm receiving, not only from the dragons and the fairies, is that as I experience this, my gift is to teach this to other people. More of us are waking up. You've heard me say this before, the veil's very, very thin. And those of us that are awake, I guess is the word. But certainly to what I'm being taught, actually the Galactics, I don't know who they're, but there's a group called the Galactics. They're saying that we're lighting up, and they're seeing us light up across the world. And as that happens, we are seeing through that veil. And that veil was to be not for us to see until our transition, until we were crossing the Rainbow Bridge. I had a very bizarre week of having very vivid, what I eventually put together as life reviews. And then I was like checking myself and going, wait, why am I having this life review while I am clearly okay, I'm awake, what's going to happen to me? And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm reviewing it now so that I can make changes if need be, or I can understand it to help other people understand that. So if you're experiencing that, I hear other people are, so don't be afraid of it. It's really, I'm having memories of back in my childhood. I don't dream very much, other than I did have one very bizarre dream on Wednesday night, and I woke up like almost feeling like I was having a panic attack because I had lost everything. I saw myself in the desert, but I was in caves. It was very surreal. And I was like, I kept getting to dead ends. I had what I deemed all of my life in a bag. And I had a pocketbook, and I'd put it somewhere. It's almost, it reminds me of a senior moment, but I put it somewhere in my dream. And then I'd gone off to do something, and then I couldn't remember how to get back to it. And when I woke up, I was still in that panic phase of how do I get back there? I was asking people who wouldn't speak to me, how do I get back to where I started? And then it was like, I've lost all of my life, was how I heard it. And then I was like, no, they're the parts of me that I don't need anymore, that I've left them. But it was horrible. I have not had a panic attack in many, many years. I woke up with my heart pounding, like that headache. And I was like, why am I so panicked? And I'm like, I still feel I've lost something. But the more I thought about it, and it just came to me that they were parts of my life I don't need anymore. Hence, I've been having those waking dreams, memories, but they're very, very vivid. I mean, I'm there. My son was with. I mean, there was this one particular scene that they took me back to where he was standing in front of me with his winter hat on, and I had my hands on his shoulders. I mean, I was there. So, am I timeline jumping? Probably. Am I seeing my parallel lives? Probably. I believe all of that. But I just found it fascinating. And then to add to that, my new connection to the fairies, it was probably a little bit too hot for me to go out walking because I don't like it too hot and humid. But I was very drawn to going a particular route. And while I was walking that way, the fairies were saying, we want you to see where you're going through fairy eyes. I mean, we know we can do that through angel eyes. I did that when I first woke up. But this feels like my second awakening, I don't even know where that came from. But they were like, look through your eyes, like fairy eyes. And I saw so many different things. And if you catch on my Facebook, my private page, I posted some videos, and I saw so many different things. A couple of the things that I took didn't show, but they were even showing me where they lived. There were fallen trees. There were clearly like doorways, and they were like, we're in here. They took me down to a pond where the beavers were building a dam. I mean, and if you catch one particular video, I didn't realize how loud the birds were, and you can hear the trickling water. You can almost hear like the trees moving. It was just, and even though I ran into a couple of people, which I didn't expect because I'm thinking I'm just going to go and sit by the pond, I did sit and I took more pictures. And then there was this beautiful mirroring of the sky down onto the pond and the pond up. So you got that where the trees meet together. Beautiful. And I feel so many things I like capture that I want to paint. I'm a self-taught artist, but I really feel drawn to, I want to paint that. There's a spot there where I went yesterday that I painted a few years ago, which I took a picture from the road of a house with the lily pads on. That's what they were I was drawn to the lily pads, and I was also drawn to a couple of ducks, which were, yes, they were ducks. I think they, and as I was walking down this road, and it can be quite a busy road. It's sort of a cut-through road, but it's it's like really old America, and it's a cute village. And I was walking down, and suddenly these ducks looked up. Their heads, both of them stood up, and I realized that they were probably nesting. And then as I walked across and caught them from the other side, one was clearly guarding a nest. And actually I talked to my older son who walks that way as well, and he said, I've seen those quite frequently. Yes, I think they're nesting, so I'm going to keep an eye out for those, because I think that would be interesting to see the beginnings of them nesting and then see the ducklings. And then there was a woman out with her dog on a paddleboard, but it was just, I saw things so differently. It wasn't just, there's somebody out, why are they on paddleboard with their dog? But it was seeing the water lilies that haven't bloomed yet. And then I walked into the woods. I saw all these beautiful things and things moving, and it was very crunchy because we really haven't had enough rain, even though there were spots that were very, very wet. And as I was walking back on the side of the road, I suddenly, never seen it before, there was this patch of lily of the valley. And if you've again caught anything that I've talked about, I had two grandmothers that were born probably in the early 1900s, thinking, if not before that. And both had flower names. One was Rose and one was Lily. And Rose loved roses, and Lily had Lily of the Valley. And they were just beautiful. I don't know, because it was a warm day. I mean, they were, and I could almost catch the fragrance, and it's a very delicate fragrance. And I was like, I'm going to pick some of these. So I picked some and brought them back with me. And they're sitting on my dining room table, which I took a photo of. And there's this very delicate fragrance. And I'm like, that's my grandmother. That's my grandmother sort of almost saying, yes, you've got it, right? Yes, you understand who you are now. It's taken me all these years, but I'm really feeling that I'm beginning to understand myself. I'm also, and even though this is new for me, I'm really listening to what I feel, and I'm honoring myself. And I talked about this yesterday about how I did not want to go to a particular, it was a lunchtime gathering meeting. I absolutely did not want to go. In the past, I would have made myself go, and I would have been very uncomfortable and very angry at myself. I did not want to put myself in a situation that I was going to be uncomfortable with, so I declined. And I just put it out there with no expectations, and nobody said anything. What was interesting was I did that sort of beginning of the week, I think, said, sorry, I can't make it. On Friday morning, I had, like everything got, I said Friday was cancelled, but that particular gathering was cancelled. And I really felt like I had, because I'd honoured myself, sort of the laws of what I'm thinking of, the law of attraction, literally dissolved it. It was like it wasn't supposed to happen, right? So I felt like really proud of myself. And then everything else, things got cancelled. And I was like, wow, what a and even though I'm not saying just because I honoured myself that happened, but that's that flow, right? And I had not thought that I was a manifester at all. If you'd have asked me, I'm like, I can't manifest. I can do all the negative stuff. We don't manifest stuff. But I realised that that was what I did. I manifested the truth, the laws of attraction, the laws of truth. Like, and then another meeting that I had a conflict with 2 meetings on Friday morning, both got cancelled. And I was like, they weren't supposed to happen, right? And then the midday meeting was only an hour instead of an hour and a half. And then that gave me time to go out for my walk. So I'm going to literally jump on that and start thinking now, because, and I think what has happened for me is, and I've said this to other people because I'm really good at giving advice, I don't take my own advice, is that once I had to be shown that, look, you are a manifester, because they've been telling me, the angels, for years, I mean, everybody's been telling me, even people I've worked with will say, you know, you can manifest whatever you want. And I think part of me didn't believe it, but they had to show me. And this is, I think, why I'm having these experiences. They've told me, they've shown me, and now they're saying, we're going to put you there, and now you're going to believe it. So I'm a believer, all right? I'm putting that out there. So if you're struggling, I feel that so many people do, I know I'm not alone, that we will sort of smile and say, yes, yeah, I understand that. I understand all those things. And then you think, but it won't happen to me. It's saying, yes, it will happen to me, right? And then you start bringing those things to you. I'm not the first person to talk about this. I just wanted to share my experience yesterday and how that can shift things by believing in yourself, because if we don't believe in ourselves, nobody else will. And I think it's given me more of that confidence. So that's sort of what I wanted to say, because I really want people to hear that, like, believe in yourself and believe that you can manifest whatever you want. Simple as that. So I thought I would, I still have family visiting. They actually did all around Vermont, and they're coming back today, and then they're going to be here till Wednesday. They're flying back home on Wednesday, and that's sort of a whole nother thing, right? Is when you have people visiting with you and family. That has brought up memories. My brother and I have been talking about past events, remembering our childhood, you know, all of those good things. So, not surprising. So, let me say, so I pulled these cards just before I started. I'm like, what theme should we talk about? The Sacred Soul Shadow Oracle deck. So the first card was unsettled. So this is for us, this is the theme for next week. Look before you leap from things to things without making real commitment. Right, so there's like a deer. Look before you leap from thing to thing without making real commitment. That's really easy to do. I will say I can do that. I'll be like, oh, I'll just do this, or I'll just do this, and you have a lot of unfinished things. And that's, oh, did I see? Oh, no, yeah. So the next one is no discipline. So I think the no discipline is oftentimes we think, oh, I'll start this, I'll start this, I'll start this. Whereas what I'm hearing is, for me, this is a completion year. I'm being told I need to complete things fully. So it's a message for you. Challenging to stay focused, motivated, and take action, leading to feelings of being stuck. So exactly what I talked about, right? There's a feather in a lightning storm. And self-sabotage, undermining your success by procrastinating, negative self-talk, or fear of failure. So again, this I can relate to, right? As I said, it's very easy to, as I said, I can easily manifest negative things. Why can't I manifest really positive things? And that's the self-sabotage. So even though these were probably for me, these are going to speak to some of you. And that's our theme for the upcoming week, or starting tomorrow. I'm actually doing an interview tomorrow morning about my, what am I doing? I'm actually going out to Western Mass, I think I told you, and I'm going to do a regression session and bring the dragons out. So I'm doing an interview. We're recording an interview with me so we can put that out to promote it. And I believe that there are people signed up for it already. So the dragons are excited because for me it's going to be the first time that the Dragon Collective, whichever collective it is, I'm guessing it's going to be, so they're showing me guardians and elders will be stepping forward to speak. So interesting. So let's pick a couple of dragon cards. Oh, Guardian Angel. The Guardian Angel Dragon. You're not alone. So there are dragons that work with guardian angels. When I was doing this oracle deck, they were extremely vocal about working with guardian angels, and also confirming, because that's how I first got started, was channeling guardian angels and getting messages from the angelic realm. All right, so here we go. Be open. The Stargate Dragon. She came up this week, and for next week, reminding us to be open. Let me just see what's on the bottom of the deck. Oh, the Daughter Dragon. So this is bringing in a special love. I think I just channeled somebody's mother for them. Well, they didn't ask me to, but she asked for something else, and that's what I got. So I think this is for her, to also confirm that the message was from her. And so what I'm hearing is that we need to listen to the messages. So some of us, our mothers have transitioned. For some of us, they may not be in our lives. If we're here, we've been the daughter to somebody, and there is a special love. So just a reminder, if you've got a daughter, it's the same thing. I have boys, so that's always eluded me. I always said there was a reason that I was not given a daughter. I didn't know as much as I know now, but I still think there was a reason. I don't think I would have done a very good job with a daughter, because I had not had any. I think I was scared to have a daughter because I had not had a good relationship with my mother. And look, as I'm talking, the inner child card has come up. So yes, I know inner child work. We all know that, and we all pay lip service to it. So what I'm hearing the fairies say, this is the week. This is the week. Positive expectations and have positive outcomes, right? Have positive expectations of the outcomes. So doing inner child work isn't necessarily talking about the bad things. It's what has influenced us to be, so I'm hearing, what has, to dive into inner child work is to see what our influences have been to make us who we are today. Positive expectations. And the last one is stand your ground. This is definitely a card I pull a lot for myself. And this is again talking about having confidence to stand your ground, to know what's right, to know what's wrong, and to stand your ground with your convictions, which I think a lot of us forget how important that is. It's very easy to not do that, or we often worry about what other people will think of us. I don't anymore. I will speak my mind, usually with a tongue in my cheek. I often can make people laugh about it, but I don't tolerate stupidity anymore. Oh, and detoxification. So for those of you, we've just got past the full moon. So I know a few of you have been doing the full moon cleanse. I did 3 of those. I probably will do some more, not right now. And actually my son is doing a heavy metal detox. So I think that is all I have today. I'm still posting each day on my Facebook page the interesting messages from the fairies. When I get taken out for a walk and they want me to video or show me things, circles are big. The fairies showing me circles wherever I go. They're showing me them with the sunlight coming through the trees, sunlight everywhere. If you call, that was also this week as well, that I went on a walk, the sun was going down and it was casting shadows, and some of you saw so much going on with they were the divas that were like, there was 2 orbs. There was a very big sort of greenish blue orb and a smaller one, and in that small one, if you opened it up, there was a woman with a hat. And when I see hats, some of you may remember last year that a group that I was with, I actually saw my ancestors standing in front of me, and I drew them, and they were all women and they all had different hats on. And then another time I had umbrellas. So hats seem to be a thing with me. I actually have to say that I wish that I lived in the 1920s, was what I used to say, which was sort of my grandparents' era, because they used to wear such fabulous hats. I mean, everybody wore hats, and I'm like, and it was probably to cover up their hair, so maybe that's why I have to play with my funky colours, but I've always been drawn to hats. I don't necessarily wear them, but I just love, that era of, the fur and the hats and I just love it. So not surprisingly that when I see things, they often have hats, and I think that's ancestral for me. That's my ancestors speaking. Somebody caught that person and said they were very funny. So, I love it when people look at what I've done or what I've seen, and then they get their take on it, which usually matches up with me. Oh yes, and of course, before I go, my other big, say this week has flown by, was my white dragons sent from the Pope. And my disclaimer is I am not Catholic, I'm not any denomination, so it wasn't like I have an agenda. Again, I was out walking, looked up, and the clouds were just fabulous. And out of those clouds, I could see some dragons. And as I was coming over the top of the hill, I looked up and realized what I heard was they're a pod of dragons. And I said, are dragons in pods? And they were like, these dragons are. And it was almost like the end of it had a tail. And then I realized these were huge. And I always say dragons are huge, but these were really, really big. White dragons, almost angelic is what I'm seeing now, like there were feathers on their wings, but they were dragons. And on top of their heads, it was gold that I could see. And I was told that was a gold crown. And when I said, wow, white dragons, and they said, the Pope released us, the Pope sent us, the new Pope released us from beneath the Vatican. So I won't say any more than that, because there are lots of theories, lots of people have different thoughts about that. The one thing we know about I know about dragons, is that there are still many, many dragons across the world that are still not free. Let's say that they're not free. These dragons were let go. They told me that this is a very heart-centered Pope, very humane. He wanted to release them. He was sending them to the USA first, and again on a peace mission. And if you've caught any of my other stuff, I'm this body, but in some galactic realm, I am on a peace mission. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm on a peace mission. I've seen myself on a spacecraft. I've been told that I'm going to a peace conference. We're being escorted by other galactics. I've seen the peace conference. It's still ongoing is what I'm hearing. So they're saying I'm having these repeated memories, and these things keep coming up because I'm going backwards and forwards, right? So I'm on a peace mission for Earth. There are other people that I know that are actually on that peace mission. So I wasn't surprised when I heard that the dragons that appeared in the sky, and actually somebody else saw them up in Maine. I'm in Massachusetts. They saw them, and somebody else further south to me, I think she's in New Jersey, that area, or Connecticut, saw them as well. So again, I can't make this stuff up, right? It's what I heard. It's what they told me, that they're on a peace mission. And when he released them, he said to come to the United States first on a peace mission, and then he's sending them off to Europe and other places. They are free. They're free now. They have been in captivity for many, many centuries. That's what they told me. They're saying at least, they're saying 3 or more centuries. I think more than that. They were like, we don't know. We've been underground for so long, but they are beautiful. They are very, I'm seeing their hearts now, like here, and they're like big, big gold hearts. And when they put their wings out, the gold goes out into their wings. So as they're flying over all of us, they're dropping this beautiful gold is raining down, and that is holding peace, love, harmony, all of the things that we all need. So that's the message from them. That's the first message I got. But they're saying that you will see them. All you have to do is look up. I think we spend so much of our lives looking like this that we don't often look down at what's going on down there, but we often forget to look up. So they're saying, look up, pay attention to the cloud formations, pay attention to what you feel, what you hear, and certainly what you see. That there will be more messages from them as they continue, and they're saying they're showing me the world, and they're showing me as they go around the world. They're saying they're doing this, almost like a satellite, right? So, and they're a big pod, big. So you see huge clouds. You may see them individually. I just saw them as one very, very large white greyish cloud, but you could see dragon bits sticking out and a tail at the end, and at the front was definitely a dragon. So yes, I almost forgot about that. I was in my head when I'm often on Saturdays, as I'm either in the shower or whatever I'm doing, they're suddenly like, you need to stop and, do that, with pointing to my phone, do that, get on there and say, and like, because they're pushing me to say, I completely forgot. They wanted me to give the messages out, and I almost forgot to talk about that. So if you have questions, if you see them, if you feel them, if you get messages, you have questions, send them my way. I'd love to interact more. I will post this on YouTube. It will go on my Facebook page. Also, if you, and the other person I want to give a shout out to is my friend Kayla, who has just launched a podcast series from the South. Trying to remember, I can see it. But these are stories behind the stories of southern Savannah, Georgia. It's gone completely. See, that's too. See, I'm out there now. But check out my Facebook page. Check out Kayla's. It's called Moss and something. But beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. She has the most fabulous voice. It's that soft southern accent to read it, and they're only like 20 minutes. I'll post the link underneath here. So have a good week. I may be back in the week. Who knows? I have a few days off next week doing some touristy stuff. I hope the weather stays good till my brother goes back. I think today's a washout. So I'm just going to be doing some cooking, I think. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon.